Yes, so the 4 numbers that I got after I passed that test, because that was the whole point, after I remember everything, and then while I was almost getting to awaken, before I woke up, I received the numbers. Okay, so this could be a lottery numbers for some of you, yay. Others of you could be significant numbers that you need to see. Whenever you see this number, this is for you to remember, like, wait, Angie talked about this, wait a second. Here it goes. 78, 25, 8, and 6. Remember that? I don't know if you used to remember, if people tell you, like, if you dream about numbers, like playing the lottery or something like that. And I remember I was hearing that as a kid, and I was like, oh my God, I should always, like, you know, and whenever I would tell my mom, I would write it down and stuff like that. Sometimes it's not even lottery number. It could be something related to a rite passage. It could be something in a book. It could be a book page. It could be a lesson, a life lesson. It doesn't necessarily have to be a blessing or a gift. It not necessarily have to be monetary. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that you are tangible. It could be something that it could be literally a lesson, a spiritual lesson. It could be something, a street number. Maybe you see the street number and you see that you're maybe passing us, crossing, I'm seeing someone like maybe gonna cross the street without looking at the light, but you're looking at the number. But when you look at the number, you have to remember that, wait, I need to wait until that light turns that for me to walk. It could be a warning, okay? It could be, maybe it's the 78 money, or maybe you're getting $78 or 25 bucks or 8. It could be many things. Now, when I was studying these numbers after this, I was like, okay, there's some significance about these specific numbers. So when I pray about it and have my little hermit mode, I receive these specific prophetic messages for these, okay? So the first one, 78. And on my end, on this end of this collective, is 78 is Psalm 78, okay? So for some of you, if you want to go to Psalm 78, go check it out in the Bible, but it could mean many things for other people. Now, when I broke it down, the 78, it came out to different numbers as well, but they're related to different signs of the zodiacs. So this is where I was telling you guys that this prophetic dream is related to the month of June, but also could be timeless. It could be any of that. So the prophetic, the signs of this month, at least on this channel, are going to be related to the dream. So I'll be helping you guys decipher some of your generational curses. It could be something, you know, that you need to warn yourself. It could be a quicksand, or something that it could be related for you to, you know, numbers, to pay attention to certain numbers, to certain messages. I'm not sure yet because I haven't seen the messages yet. I was just literally guided to break down these numbers, find it in the Bible, decipher the dreams, and then put these specific cards that I have in my home and put them specifically on these messages for specific signs and for specific people. So at the end of the day, we're gonna decipher it together right here in this channel. But other than that, Psalm 78 was one of them, and I don't know, he said to go read it, Psalm 78. It could be in one of the signs. I don't know. Maybe I will let you know. There was Psalm 78 and 25. It was Job 25. So Job 25. I feel like 78 talks about tell the coming generation. Yeah. So Psalm 78 is talking about telling about the next generation. So it's interesting that I'm telling you this because as someone who's breaking cycles and helping other people break cycles, it makes sense. And after I passed that test in that dream that I just told you, I got these messages for you, okay? Which also was healing messages for me as well, and I'm not supposed to reveal to you here, but it was messages that I needed to understand certain situations, certain things in my personal life, but also I was able to decipher in a way so that I can help you guys in the collective as well, okay? So yeah, Psalm 28. So let me hear what he wants to say. Number 4. Wait, for Psalm 28, there was 12. Okay. See, God works in mysterious ways. So he letting me know when I decipher it, it was 12. Okay, so 78, 12. In the sight of their fathers, he performed wonders in the land of Egypt, in the fields of Zoan. Which is interesting that he talks about Egypt, because right after after I got all the cards, he told me I do have 2 Egyptian tarot cards, but there was one specific that's not really similar to any tarot card, is very different. And then he told me to also look for the numbers, specific numbers for these afterwards, like at the end of after I got everything. I need you to put these specific numbers and from these specific cards to these specific messages. So it's interesting that it talks about that in the sight of the Father he performed wonders. So that's just something that it could be related to what happened. He's showing me when Moses got the revelation, when he performed miracles through Moses, right? And he helped people who were enslaved, right, to get out of Egypt, the Israelites, right? So that's something that he's trying to teach us as well in his own way, because we like to not think about that and be in that illusion and thinking the quicksand is a good way, but at the end of the day, we're not free. We are slaves here of this system until it changes. This capitalist, oppressive, white supremacy, all this stuff, this is not good. So we're trying to break away from that and go into better understand, balanced life, less toxic, oppressed, like no capitalism, none of that, right? No oppressive system. Really break away from that. But we can't do it by ourselves. We need God. We need to do it together, unified, understand duality and polarity, but we really need him. So that's what he's trying to, each of us, prophet, or everybody has their own mission. I have a mission differently because I'm an environmental scientist. I understand numbers and understand alchemy and stuff like that. So I'm trying to decipher this in a way that it makes sense for you. So basically how I used to do with my science paper, I used to turn it in a way so people could understand it in the environmental science, to understand it for other people. And that's something that I would write and stuff, but I got so bored and I couldn't do it, because it was like talking to quicksand, really, when I was trying to explain to this corporation, these people, that they cannot be doing this, that they have to stop fossil fuels. And I felt like I was talking to nothing, to the air. I would create all these papers and nothing, they wouldn't do anything. That's why I decided to do my own book and do my own stuff and release it. Eventually, everything in divine timing, because right now is a different mission right now. But what I'm saying is that when I got tired, that God guided me to build my own thing. That's why I built RedOfCF.com. That's why I built something completely different, which now is like going into the unknown, right? The abyss kind of thing, and trying to understand how to build something outside of the status quo, outside of the system, right? And it's the only way that I could be able to do that is with God. I cannot, and that's something that he put on me to do, and that's what I'm being obedient and doing what I gotta do. Some of you are in the same path as me. Eventually we will meet, but until then we all have our own work to do. That's what we're isolated right now, to do our own internal work, healing work and stuff like that. So we don't, when we come together, we don't project that stuff. And that's why the devil is attacking us. He doesn't want us to heal, doesn't want us to do this work. But you got to do the work, okay? We're not able to collaborate, healthy, or unify, or none of that stuff if we're not doing this work. Also, the same thing, he wants us to have our union partners, right? Because our partners have different gifts that we have. So whatever we're lacking, they have. And whatever they're lacking, we have. You understand? So that when we combine together, we're able to build these businesses, build this, nearly the kingdom of God, right? And work through him, through his kingdom, right? So that's another thing where I'm saying all these people that you idolize, stop idolizing billionaires and stuff like that. They're going to fall. It's imparable. And he keeps saying it. Do not stop idolizing these billionaires and people. They're not going to be there for long. Okay? That's it. All the gifts and all the stuff that they have is literally given by God, and they have misused it. They have done what they shouldn't be doing. Okay? And there's a karma debt for that. And they know that. That's what they're trying to do, pay other people to try to avoid their karma and stuff like that. Yeah. You think God is not watching you, y'all. Anyways, 25. He said jobs. Jobs. Exactly 6. Okay. How much less man, who is a maggot, and the son of man, who is Okay, number 6, job 25. Okay, so if you want to read the whole thing, go read it. I mean, it's very short. It's not bad. Okay, he says to read it. Okay. Dominion and fear are with God. He makes peace in his high heaven. Is there any number to his armies? Upon who does his light not rise? How then can men be in the right before God? How can he who is born of women be pure? Behold, even the moon is not bright, and the stars are not pure in his eyes. How much less man who is a maggot, and the son of man who is a worm. Okay, so I feel like, okay, so it says here what they represent. Bilbo words represents the final speech of the 3 friends. 3, how interesting. The friends have argued that their theological understanding and application represents God's perspective. They have never really considered the possibility that they could be wrong. So that too. He's letting you know also that some of the stuff that we think we were right, it could be wrong. And then we have to see both perspectives of the spectrum, okay? So don't think that you're always right. Even sometimes myself, like if I'm doing something and if I say like, okay, this might be, that's why it took me a while to come here, because some of this stuff, I wanted to make sure it was right, but some of it could be wrong. Some of it might change, it might shift or something like that, you know? So that's something like, you know, you can't be idolizing people or things, especially based on, you know, you really have to listen to your intuition. You have to use discernment, okay? So that too, that's why I was like, you know, even if I'm wrong or right, at least I did my job. I was obedient, and that's what I got to do. And I will get convicted, and I will come here and tell you. But today he was letting me know that a lot of people think that they're always right, and that's something that when you go through that ego death, you understand that either right or wrong, there's still lessons there that you're not really, and even if you're wrong, there's a lesson that you need to learn there, or some of us need to learn through that wrong as well, okay? But at the same time, he kept saying that don't be afraid that the possibility that you could be wrong, or that you can make a mistake, or that you can fail, because even through that, there's also a lesson. And then when you avoid that, you avoid because you don't want to be wrong, because you don't want to make a mistake, because you don't want to fail, you're already avoiding yourself from that spiritual lesson as well. You're not really avoiding, you're kind of delaying and slowing your process along the way, especially because even through that wrong or failure or mistake, there's something that a door, or something that it could be there, that it could be a possibility, it could be abundance, it could be something there, you know? So don't dismiss thinking that, don't stop yourself from thinking, oh, this is going to be wrong or something like that, and then you don't end up doing anything, because at the end of the day, you're just blocking your own self, right? And then you get into this point where you get regretful, you get rowdy and stuff like that, and then you accumulate that, and then you start projecting to people, and then you become this, you know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that try to avoid thinking that it's not okay to make mistakes. You're human, you're here to, you know, don't think that, you know, you're always gonna be right, you know, and that's something like some of us, when we go through the ego death, or ego death gets, like if we had a big ego, it just starts getting like, God humbles you, right? And you end up like being like, you know what, if I'm wrong, I'm gonna, you know, apologize, and I'm gonna take accountability for that, and I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna fix it, right? He teaches that. So that's something that I feel like he's trying to tell us, like, you know, you're like a maggot when the universe and everything, you don't have control of anything. Other than that, they want you to keep moving forward. Even if you make mistakes, even if just learn from it and keep moving forward. That's the whole point as well, okay? All right, Genesis 8. And it goes to 4. He said 4. And in the 7th month, on the 7th day of the month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. And then you go to the fountains of the deep and the windows of the heavens were closed. The rain from the heavens was restrained. Interesting. I don't know, he kept saying 4. So 7 could be significant for you. We're in the 6th month, so July. So some of you need to be paying attention in July. And in the 7th month, on the 7th day, so it could be 7 or it could be 17 of the month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. And the waters contained the abate until the 10th month. And in the 10th month, on the first day of the month, the tops of the mountains were seen. So this is, I feel like, the Ark of Noah. Something about the Ark of Noah. So I guess some of you could be the flood subsides. So it could be a flood, something about a flood or something like that. You see, it could be anything, guys. So that's why you have to read this or find that if 8 means something to you, or Genesis 8 or something about 8 could be something to you. Like, that's for me, for this representation of this dream it's about. And he kept saying that. So number 4 is in the 7th month. So again, this is a timeless thing. So it could be, if this is past, present, and future. So this could be maybe next year, of the 7th month, of the 17th, but there's something about the 7th month and a 17. It could be a birthday, someone July 17. It could be significant, but it's something about an ark came to rest on the mountain. So something about a mountain. So let me see what he's trying to say about that. So interesting enough, I just found mountain with biblical. There's a lot of mountain meaning in the Bible, but also I'm hearing high rise. So maybe some of you, if you're dealing with some floods, or I'm definitely gonna check it out. Maybe I'll come back with more details. I'm someone who does this type of work, volcanic activity and tsunamis and stuff like that. Again, we can't predict these things. We can never know. But it has to do with something. It has to be about it's a prophetic dream, right? It could be something that we need to expect. It could be a tsunami. It could be an earthquake. It could be many explosions of volcanic activity during that month. It could be something, but it's something to do with the 7th month of the 17. And it's predicted in Genesis the 8th. That was, maybe I'll come back and see if I find something about that. But during this time, what I've been keeping track of these, this is the year where there's been a lot of volcanic activity, a lot of earthquakes, more than usual, right? Because we are dealing with climate change, right? Global warming. But this is something that to rest on the mountain. Anyways, something about a mountain. You guys seem to be going to a mountain, like going high rise. Perhaps have to deal with this people running with maybe no shoes or sandals or something like that, climbing a mountain or something in the rain could be significant. Like, some of you could be dealing with a lot of rain. Some of you could be dealing with a lot of like water rising and stuff like that. So like something like perhaps during that month you must be going up, It's crazy that I'm like saying this. I don't even know. Anyways, they're telling me to trust my instincts. As a highly psychic intuitive as I am, and doing this type of environmental scientist situation, and I feel like I cannot be looking at ignorance anymore and not saying these things. I will look into, if you need the specific scientific data, and I will reveal it here. It's so sad that even when I put it out there, it's like the YouTube, Google, and stuff like that blocks it so people don't see it. And then just like any scientific papers or anything that we put out there, it's like they try to block it so you guys keep in that illusion, right? Because it benefits them, that you thinking that fossil fuels and not doing the right thing it's really sad. It's like that movie, the Leonardo DiCaprio movie. Like, I can't finish that movie for my life. Like, I just get so angry because it's like mocking scientists and stuff like that we've been doing that, what you see in that movie, for years, and they're not listening, and they're like, and look where we are now. Anyways, interesting enough, I go into the mountain, and I found Mount Ararat, which talks about in Genesis 6, exactly on 4th. It says, this is the mountain where Noah's ark stopped after being in the flood for 40 days and nights. Hope explains that Mount Ararat is located in Turkey, but not allowed for tourists. She says that the Bible does not say exactly where the ark is landed. Yeah, it says Genesis 8, I just read that. And on the 7th day of the 7th month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. Something significant about this mountain in Turkey has to be significant. Something in Turkey, something in Turkey. Don't think there's any situation, but I will get back to you on this specific message about that, okay?